Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on FPL Now. Today we're going to be going over my final thoughts ahead of tonight's deadline for Game Week 17. So if you are excited for the video, drop a like down below. Let's try and hit 35 likes. Leave a comment. How is your team looking? I know there's so much information to talk about today, but hopefully we can still get a decent score in Game Week 17. Subscribe if you're brand new. Thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. With all of that out of the way, let's get into the video, and I really hope that you enjoy. So, starting things off, this is what my team is looking like right now. So, De Gea in goal, of course, not playing. If you have any United or Brentford players, the game has been called off today. It is not going ahead. And unfortunately for me, I have De Gea and Mbeumo. So, not only does my goalkeeper not play, my bench also takes a massive hit as well. So now I have no players on the bench that are going to be playing because obviously Mbeumo is not playing, Cancelo's out anyway, Steele is the second goalkeeper before Sanchez, and then of course Locadia probably won't play either unless there's like, I mean, I know there's been an outbreak at Brighton as well, so depending on what players there have caught COVID, maybe Steele does play, maybe Locadia does play, but at this moment in time it's unlikely they will. At the back we have Trent, Rudiger, James, Livramento. Livramento has picked up like a gash on his leg or something, so now he's a doubt. Fantastic. I've of course got to play Sissoko instead of Mbeumo because can't play him. And then Bernardo, will he play against Leeds? I don't really know. And then Salah, Jota, and then we have Antonio and Watkins. Luckily, Watkins will play. He was pictured in training. There's literally been cases at every single club. It's gotten to the point now where I think it's like the worst week of COVID since like, well, forever really. Like, this is the worst week we've ever had in the Premier League for COVID, in terms of players and in terms of like staff members and stuff like that. So there are a few games that potentially could still be called off. I know the City Leeds game might be called off. I think the Norwich game and Villa game might be called off. I think the Brighton Wolves game might be called off. And then of course we already know that the Man United and the Brentford game has been called off as well. So it is just a really sticky situation, and it's just impossible to kind of build your team around. Like at this point in time, it is just all about luck. Like, you can bring in a player and then the next week they might not play for 2 fixtures. Like, that's exactly what I did. Like, I took out Sanchez because he wasn't playing against Tottenham, and then of course brought in De Gea, and now De Gea is not playing, so then I might bring in Ramsdale, but then he might not play. Like, there's only so much you can do. Like, at this point in time, it is really less about preparation and more about luck. There are a few things that you can do to properly prepare your team, and that is obviously don't triple up on teams. I know I've got like triple Liverpool here and then I've got double City, but if you do triple up on teams and then that team does not play, you're kind of screwed. As well as that, don't bring any players that like have just had a postponement, like United players, Brentford players, because it's likely with how many fixtures we have in the Christmas period that if one game's off, the next game might be as well. Like, Leicester Spurs is currently still like in preparation to be called off as well. Like, it's not been that long since they got all those positive cases, because obviously they got called off at the weekend with Brighton, and as well as that, don't captain and vice captain players from the same team. As you can see right here, I've got Salah captain, which again should be fine. You know, we've had no real outbreaks at Liverpool or Newcastle. And then I've gone with Watkins as a vice captain because I know that Watkins will play if the Villa game goes ahead. And as well as that, I want to vice captain a player that's playing tonight, because even though the deadline is tonight, we can still have games called off throughout the week. You know, we've got games tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday, and a game could easily be called off. Like today, we could get news that a game tomorrow has been called off, or a game on Thursday has been called off, and that'll be after the deadline, and you can't do anything about it. So you have to vice captain a player that I'm just saying, I would vice captain a player that is playing earlier on in the week, so if they do perform, you know you've got that backup in case any late postponements happen in the week. So that's all you can really do. I mean, but at the end of the day, it is generally just all about luck. And I've already used my transfer this week as well. I brought Watkins in for Vardy because, I don't know, I guess part of me thought that the Tottenham and the Leicester game would be called off. And as well as that, I knew that Watkins was going to play. I knew he was going to play early, and I just wanted him in the team. Not apart from the fact that he's got like a really nice fixture and stuff. If I didn't bring him in and I still had Vardy, I mean, I probably would have used my transfer on De Gea, but I honestly don't know whether to even do that. at this point in time. Like, if I take another hit, because obviously I took a hit last week for my keeper, and if I take another hit this week for my keeper, I'll have 11 players playing, and at this point in time as well, it's still basically just a -2 because I'll be getting 0 points from De Gea regardless. But I mean, if De Gea plays at the weekend, like, I'm okay with that, because I would have just missed one game. And also, Ramsdale's playing West Ham. Like, is Ramsdale really going to keep a clean sheet against West Ham? Maybe, but unlikely to. And then, of course, if we do have the United game again at the weekend, I'll have De Gea back for Brighton, Newcastle, Burnley, and a double game week, which will probably be around game week 21, 22. So part of me just doesn't even want to take a hit for De Gea and kind of just keep him in. But at the same time, if he then doesn't play at the weekend, that's 2 game weeks that I've not had a goalkeeper. And yeah, so it's like I say, and that's just all about luck. Like, whether he's back for the weekend, I've got no control over it. So I can try and do it strategically. I can go either of those ways, but at the end of the day, it is just generally down to what COVID decides, man. And that's just the unfortunate. Like, there's even talks about now that like the Leeds and the Man City game might be called off tonight as well, because there's been an outbreak at City, and then we don't know what players have obviously caught the virus and stuff. So it's just awful. I mean, I know there's press conferences today and stuff like that, so obviously we'll wait and hear what everybody has to say. But as of right now, it is just really, really unfortunate. My team is not looking too good. I have 0 players coming off the bench if Lockyer and Steele don't play, which again, they're very unlikely to. Livramento might not play. I could generally be going into this game week with 9 players, and that's if Bernardo starts and everyone else starts. Like, it generally could be like 7, 8 players. Like, I could be looking at a really, really bad game week. Because captaining Salah, I mean, everyone's going to do that, so it doesn't even matter about that. So I really just have to hope that Sissoko decides to put on his shooting boots and score a hat-trick or something, which obviously isn't going to happen, but we have to believe. But yeah, it is just a really, really unfortunate situation. This is what my transfer is looking like right now. Again, I could take a hit, but the thing is, like, because there's been outbreaks at Brighton as well, and United have Brighton next week, so it's like, I have to hope that Brighton and United both have all their COVID cases, like, okay. And at this point in time, it's probably not going to happen. And of course, if I bring in Ramsdale this week, yeah, he has West Ham, but then he has Leeds and Norwich, and then Wolves, which obviously is a nice little fixture on. But there's nothing to stop Arsenal from also getting COVID problems. Like, and they've already had COVID problems there. We've already got reports of them having a COVID outbreak. So it generally doesn't even matter what you do at this point. It generally doesn't matter, because honestly, anything can happen. It is really just like so unfair. And I feel even worse for people in countries where, like, because obviously tonight's deadline for me is obviously like, what, 6 o'clock or 6:15 or whatever, but that's because I'm in the UK. But for people that are in countries where it's like 1 in the morning, midnight, it's really not fair, because they will be asleep when all the news comes out about postponements and stuff like that, and they won't be able to change their team. And it's just, I don't know, I'm getting a little bit heated about it, but again, there's nothing you can do about it. Cancelo getting that yellow card really, really shot me in the foot. He could have waited a week. As well as that, if the Leeds City game gets postponed, he will then miss the Newcastle game, because obviously they won't be playing the Leeds game, and he's still gonna, I'm pretty sure anyway, that it'll still be, he'll still have a match ban, I'm guessing. So that means he'll miss the Newcastle game, then he'll be back for Leicester, Brentford, and then we'll obviously have a double game week with City players at some point in time, which is obviously going to be a really nice double game week where I think quite a few triple captains will be used and stuff. But yeah, I mean, the rest of my team, like, I don't know. I think it could be a really, really bad red arrow. Like, I just don't know what to do with De Gea, to be fair. Like, I could keep him and hope that he plays at the weekend, and if he does, then happy days. Or I could take another -4, expect Ramsdale to not keep a clean sheet, because then I'll also have Antonio against Ramsdale. And like I say, if Antonio scores or whatever, and or Arsenal concede 2, that's only going to be getting me 1 point. Ramsdale is most likely, unless he makes saves and stuff. So that'll be a -3. And then if United do play the weekend, then I would have lost De Gea, who's got some really nice fixtures. And I know Arsenal have good fixtures, but I generally don't know what to do. I might just bite the bullet and just go into this game week with 10 players. Well, potentially 10 players. You never know. Maybe Steele plays. Maybe Sanchez has COVID. Maybe, I don't know, some of their strikers have COVID, and Lockyer plays as well, which would be incredible, because that would be insane. But that's probably not going to happen. So yeah, I mean, with captaincy, like, generally, as I've already said, like, I mean, Salah is the standout captain. Don't vice captain. I know some people want to go Jota as well, maybe like Bernardo Silva or someone like that. But I personally would go captaining Salah, and then, yeah, just captain a player that's going to play tonight. But again, will Bernardo Silva play tonight? I'm not 100% sure. You need to captain players that you know are definitely going to play. that hopefully don't have their fixtures postponed. So yeah, again, the Villa game could be postponed, but because that's getting played today, we should hopefully find that out before the deadline, which is why I'm giving Watkins the vice captain. And if like we do get a massive outbreak at Liverpool, which generally, if we get an outbreak at Liverpool and that game's called off, mate, I'm gonna have like 5 or 6 players playing. It's going to actually be ridiculous. But I think most people will as well, though, because probably, I don't know, like 75% of teams have tripled up on Liverpool. So yeah, I guess it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but looking at that score would not be too good. I'm not thinking that I'm going to stay in the cup at all. I did get through the first round, but I think that's just kind of, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the cup this year, and potentially the league as well, a lot of it is just generally down to look at this point. You know, the best thing to do is just bring in players from different teams. Like next week, I'll probably bring in Dennis for Lockyer just to strengthen my bench. Like, you need a strong bench going over this COVID kind of infested period and the Christmas period as well. So you really honestly need like 2 strong bench options, like an Mbumo, and like a Dennis or someone, or maybe a Watkins, and then your third bench, maybe someone that still plays but probably won't get that many points, like a Sissoko, or something like that. So yeah, my bench next week will be strong. Like, I could take a -8 this week if I really wanted to. I could get rid of Mbumo for Gallagher, and then I could get rid of Lockyer for Dennis, or I could get rid of De Gea for Ramsdale and have a full starting 11. But do I really want to take a -8? Probably not, because then I'm just banking on them players doing something. And, you know, yeah, they could score, but it generally just depends. I don't think taking a -8 is worth it. I kind of want to stay away from taking hits. But of course, if the United game is postponed on the weekend as well, then yeah, I'm really in a bad situation. But it is what it is. But either way though, guys, I think that's going to be pretty much everything for today's video. I hope I answered most people's questions. Like, if you have Ronaldo, I think at this point you just sell him, because if it is postponed at the weekend, that's a lot of money just to have on your bench. And again, you just have to decide. You, like I say with De Gea, obviously it's not as bad for me because it's a lot less money, but you generally have to decide, is it worth keeping a player and hoping that that fixture is going to be back at the weekend, or do you just bite the bullet, think the weekend's fixture's going to be off as well, and then just bring in a player that will be playing over the next 2? But then again, that player you bring in could then also be out because of COVID. It is generally really, you just have to kind of play it by ear. Again, save your transfers till the very last minute of the deadline, and again, postponements can happen after the deadline, and there's nothing you can do about that. That is just generally how the game is played. And I know a lot of people are asking for like extra free transfers and extra wildcards and stuff. That's never going to happen. A lot of FPL is just obviously detailed analysis and stuff, and taking a look at like how players are playing and stuff, but when things like this happen, it generally is just a lot of the time all about luck. So yeah, that is going to be everything for today's video. That's my final thoughts on game week 17. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Best of luck to everybody. This game week is not gonna be a good one, it looks like, but you never know. Maybe someone pops off and gets you a nice double-digit haul and it saves you game week. Either way though, thank you for subscribing, thank you for leaving a like, thank you for commenting, all that good stuff, and until next time, peace.